Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make a pineapple upside down cake. So first, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 180 degrees Celsius, and then we'll need a 9-inch just cake pan with 3-inch sides, so that's 23 by 7.5 centimeters, and butter or lightly spray with a non-stick vegetable spray. And then in a saucepan, I'm going to place 3/4 of a cup, that's 160 grams of light brown sugar. And to that, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons, that's 57 grams of butter cut into small pieces. And then we're going to melt this together over about medium heat. And we're just going to, until the sugar has melted and the butter has melted together. Just stir that as it melts. So the butter and the brown sugar melting together. Okay. So once it gets clear like that, just stop stirring and just let it cook for a minute or two, or until around the outside it'll start to bubble, and that's when we know it's ready. You can swirl the pan, but don't stir it. Okay, so we're starting to bubble around the sides there, so just remove it from the heat and just pour it into your pan. And then I just pick it up and just swirl it around until the whole bottom of the pan is covered with the brown sugar. Okay, and now we'll start the cake batter. So now what we need to do is to cut up a fresh pineapple. Now, if you don't want to use a fresh pineapple, you can use a 20-ounce can. It's about 570 gram can of sliced pineapple, and drain that, and then make sure, kind of pat it dry with a paper towel. But I like to use a fresh pineapple. So if you have one, if you can find one, I would use that. So I'm just going to show you how to cut a pineapple. You cut the top and the bottom off, and then with the sharp knife, just go down and cut off the sides. Make sure you get all the eyes of the pineapple, because those don't taste too good. So I'm just going to go around like that. You can get the idea of what I'm doing. And once I've gone around and cut all that off, then I'm going to cut it in half, right down through the eye of the pineapple. And go the other way. And then just separate it and take. And then we have to cut off, because this is really, the eye of the pineapple is very hard and it doesn't taste very good. So just run your knife and cut that off, like so. And then just cut it into thin slices, about 1/4 inch. So that's how you do the pineapple. So I'm going to put that aside, because I have already done one ahead of time. So we'll take our pan of the caramelized sugar and the slices, and then you can arrange on the bottom of your cake pan just however you want, but try to get them as close together as you can, because the fresh pineapple, it does shrink a bit as it bakes. Now in the old days, or even still a lot of recipes today, they don't use a cake pan, they use a cast iron skillet. But for convenience, I'm just using the cake pan. Now as this bakes, the caramelized sugar on the bottom of the pan will melt into the pineapple, sweeten it, nice sticky. Now if you'd want, if you use a slice, a can slice, You would put all those around, then put a maraschino cherry. That's the way a lot of recipes have in the center of each. And you could do that here too. We could just put, I'll just show you how that goes. You can just put some maraschino. Just cut them in half. I like to cut them in half and drain them. And it looks nice. The red again with the yellow. Okay, so that's ready. So the next thing we have to do is make the cake batter. So in what I have here is 1.5 cups, it's 195 grams of white all-purpose flour, and I'm going to add to that 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to whisk that, or you could sift it together. And you will also need to separate 2 large eggs into the yolks and the whites and let those come to room temperature. And then in the bowl of your electric mixer with the paddle attachment, or you could do it with a hand mixer, I'm going to put 1/2 cup, that's 113 grams, of butter at room temperature. I like to use the unsalted butter because I like the flavor better, but you can use salted. So I'm just going to beat that until it's creamy. And then I'm going to add 1 cup, that's 200 grams of granulated white sugar, and just beat that until it's light and fluffy, a couple minutes. And then I'm going to add the 2 large egg yolks, one at a time. Just beat one in and then add the second one. And I'm going to add the second egg yolk and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Try to use the pure because that has nicer flavor than the artificial ones. So I'm just going to beat that. And now what I'm going to do is add the flour and the 1/2 cup of milk, that's 120 milliliters. I'm going to add the flour in 3 additions and the milk in 2. I'm going to start with the flour. So put about 1/3 of the flour mixture in here and then just beat that until it's incorporated. And then add about 1/4 cup of the milk. Scrape down the sides here. And about 1/2 of the flour here. Rest of the milk. And the rest of the flour. Now we're going to beat the egg whites in a separate bowl until stiff peaks. And the reason we separated the eggs and do it this way is it makes a lighter cake, lighter in texture than if we had just used the whole eggs into the cake batter. So that's done. I'm just going to put that aside, and then in a clean bowl, or you can do this by hand. I'm going to use a clean bowl with the whisk attachment. I'm going to put the 2 large egg whites and a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. If you can't find cream of tartar, then just leave it out. That'll be fine. So I'm just going to beat this until stiff peaks. Whoop, stiff peaks form. We're almost there. Those are soft. You can tell because the peak kind of falls over. So I'm just going to do it for about another 30 seconds and we should be good. Okay, there we are. Nice peaks. Okay, so get your cake batter. So what I'm going to add is the whites into the cake batter. I'm going to add about half of the whites first to lighten it. Just use, you could use a wire whisk, but I'm just going to use the spatula. And just stir it in. Big strokes. And add the rest. You can see it makes it not so thick. Okay, so that's done. So take your cake pan and I'm just going to pour the batter over top. As you can see, we're doing it this way because the pineapple on the bottom, because when the cake comes out of the oven, we're going to flip it over onto a cake plate and then the bottom will become the top. See all the nice caramelized pineapple slices. So there we go. Spread it as evenly as possible. This is really nice warm from the oven. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm going to bake this for 45-55 minutes depending on your oven. What you're looking for is the cake's going to turn golden brown and it's going to start pulling away from the sides. And you could also put a toothpick in the center. Just make sure you don't put it down into the pineapple and it'll come out clean. So into the oven. So our pineapple upside down cake is now done. As you can see, it's starting to pull away from the sides of the pan and it's a beautiful golden brown color. And if I inserted a toothpick into the center, you don't want to put it too down into the pineapple, just into the cake, it comes out clean. So I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes and then we'll take it out of the pan onto a cake stand. So we're now going to take the pineapple upside down cake out of the pan. So run either a sharp knife or a spatula, a metal spatula, around the edge. Okay. And then you can either use a cake stand like this or just a serving plate. I'm just going to put it over top. You want something that's bigger than the diameter of the pan. So I'll put that on top and then flip it over. And then wish me luck. We'll see if it comes out nicely. I'm going to just raise that. Now sometimes the pineapple does stick to the bottom of the pan. Just take off and just fix it up as best as you can. So there we have it. Looks nice. It's very nice served warm with some whipped cream if you like. And leftovers can be covered and stored and then just reheat it the next day. So until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joyofbaking.com.